Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. This is Our Take. We are your hosts. I'm Ocean.
I'm Taylor.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got a pretty fun one for you today. Today we're going to give you guys our take on Sony Pictures' newest film that just came out yesterday, Spiderman Across the Spider-Verse. If you guys have been following our channel recently, we did a review of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which is the first movie of this, what we now know is going to be a series of movies. And, spoiler, my bad.
We talked about it in the last video.
So that's true, my bad. And then we did that. And then today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give you guys our take of this second movie, this sequel. And pretty excited to talk to you guys about this one. A lot to talk about, a lot to get through, so we're gonna get right into it. Spoiler-free content first, scores, and then spoilers. Before we start that, though, Taylor, give us a rundown of who the cast is. I know a lot of them are similar to the last video that we published, but I'm sure there's a few extras in there. So just give us a quick rundown of who's in this movie, bro.
Yeah, so most of it is returning characters, and then we got a decent amount of newer ones. But Haley Steinfeld, of course, returns as Gwen Stacy. Shamik Moore as Miles Morales. New character is Spider-Punk, played by Daniel Kaluuya. Another new character, Miguel O'Hara, but he's Spider-Man 2099, is played by Oscar Isaac.
Yes.
And then returning Spider-Man by Jake Johnson. Returning Jefferson Davis by Brian Tyree Henry, and then another new Spider-Man. I don't know your
comic book name.
Yeah,
I don't know which character was it?
The Indian Spider-Man. Played by
shoot.
Karan Sony, but it's like Pavid something.
I'm not even gonna attempt to, because
and then
when I saw it on screen, I was like,
yeah, it's just you'll know when you watch the movie.
It's an Indian name, and then I don't want to offend anybody. So
Spider-Woman, played by Issa Rae, and then Spot, played by Jason Schwartzman. I have not seen you in a while, so
that's
cool to
who
see
it
you.
was.
Yeah, super funny. And then returning Rio Morales, played by Lauren Velez. Vulture by Jorma Taccone. George Stacy, played by Shea Wiggum. And that's about it, I think.
Okay. All right. Well, that's your cast list, ladies and gentlemen. This movie came out yesterday, June 2nd. We're filming today, and then you guys will see this on Monday. So, pretty excited. Let's get into spoiler-free content, Taylor. I'll go first. As far as this movie being a sequel to a movie that we gave a 10 out of 10 to, both of us, I was very pleasantly surprised. I really enjoyed this movie. I had a lot of fun. I'm sure there's going to be a few things here and there that I didn't really like or could have been better or whatever, but I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the performances by a lot of the characters, especially some of the newer ones, or the new ones, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good movie. What about you, man?
Yeah, this was a really fun movie. I thought it was really enjoyable. The animation took a even higher level on this one, which is great. The music is still really good. A lot of the new characters are really great. All the performances by everybody I thought was really good. There are things about the story I'm not a super big fan of.
Okay.
With certain characters. And this movie doesn't quite excite me like the first one did. And it also didn't excite me like the game did, which if you remember, we talked about, I think, a little bit with a review. I finished that prior to this, so it only took me like a day. But I loved the video game a lot too. It's a very different version of the beginning story, but
the first movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was cool to see like a different type of interpretation of it or whatever.
Sure.
But it was still really a fun movie. was pretty cool because I actually got to see Spider-Man
Yeah.
when I watched this movie. The first appearance, and I'm talking aesthetically, was an Andrew Garfield Spider-Man in the movie theater. And then we saw another one show up, and it was a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man that came in. It was pretty cool. That guy was jacked, by the way, for sure.
Yeah.
But it was cool. Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, I think we have a little bit to talk about in the spoiler section because I'm curious to know what your issues were. Yeah. Let's talk about scores, Taylor. Score for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, keeping in mind that you gave Into the Spider-Verse a 10 out of 10. What is your score for this movie?
For this movie, I'm giving it an 8.
Solid. All right. For me, I want to give this a 10. I really did enjoy it, and the whole time I was trying to look for reasons not to give it a 10 as a sequel. But I think I have to agree with you that I wasn't, when I walked out of the theater, I wasn't quite as like pumped up as I was when I watched the first movie.
Yeah.
So I think for that reason, I'll give it a 9 just so that I can say that the first one had a bigger impact on me than the second one. So I'll go 9, but I think somebody could make a case for it being a 10 out of 10 for me. So 9 for me, 8 for you.
Really good.
Rotten Tomatoes I think was a 94%. IMDb I think was 9.6. So it seems like right around there is the general consensus. The audience score on Rotten Tomatoes was 97%. So a lot of people love this. When I went and watched the movie, it was packed. The theater that I was in was packed. And when I was looking for showtimes and checking all the different seats for the showtimes, all the showtimes were packed. We ended up having to sit in like the third row from the front.
Oh, okay.
Because it was just packed. And like for us, we have a baby, so we can't like sit in the middle of the row because sometimes that can just be not fun for the people around us. So.
Yeah.
But what about you? Were your theaters packed?
Well, I went super late, and most people don't go to the theater at the time that I go. So no, it wasn't super packed. But I mean, like you could tell of the people that were there. Yeah, everybody was there to watch Spider-Man. They were either coming out of it or about to go into it.
Got it.
But just because it was so late, it wouldn't be packed because people just don't stay up that late.
Did you watch it in regular or did you watch it in IMAX or something?
I watched it in RPX just because it was the earliest showing I could see.
Oh, okay.
But it was still super late. So
what is RPX?
It's kind of like IMAX, but without the bigger screen. Yeah.
Oh, so it's
got like
better sound.
Yeah, it's a lot better sound and just nicer seats, basically.
Oh, okay. Got it. Cool. Alrighty, let's get into some spoilers, ladies and gentlemen. You have our scores. You have our general thoughts. If you guys have not seen this movie yet, I highly recommend you go check it out in the theater. This is one of those movies that I think is best seen, big screen, big sound, all that stuff. Just really creates the experience for you. And it's something that I wish I would have been able to experience for the first movie, because even though we gave it a 10 out of 10 after watching it at home, I think watching that in the theaters probably would have made it even greater somehow. Yeah, even better. So go check this movie out. You agree?
Yeah,
See it in the theaters.
Yeah, highly recommended.
Yeah, definitely recommend seeing it in the theaters. It is 2 hours and 15 minutes long, which seems long, but I don't know. It didn't feel that long to me. Did it feel that long to you?
A little bit.
Yeah,
I think it dragged a little bit.
Alrighty. Well, let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. This is gonna serve as your official
spoiler alert.
All right, Taylor. So let's talk about performances first. I just wanted to highlight a few people that I thought did really, really well. The first one being our main character, Miles Morales, and I can't remember the dude's name, the actor, but I really liked the progression that I saw throughout this movie, including where it came from the first movie. You know, he was a little cringy in the beginning, but he's also a 15-year-old teenager, so that's to be expected a little bit. But I really like the progression that he went through, both like what would be perceived as negatively, because he kind of rebelled against things and whatnot, and then at the end, there's just I really liked all of the different aspects of his character that they brought to light, and I think that the actor did a really good job of portraying them. So that's what or him, and then the other person was Miguel. It's Miguel, right?
Yeah, Miguel.
Played by Oscar Isaac. I think Oscar Isaac just nailed another one.
Yep.
I mean, I can't remember the last time Oscar Isaac didn't nail whatever role he was playing, but he did so well that it's still worth mentioning that he was a standout. Like it was really, really impressive. I got lost in the character, being the character. Like at a certain point, I forgot that it was Oscar Isaac, and I just was just watching Spider-Man 2099, and it was really, really awesome to see. So, what about you? What did you think of people? Did you have anybody noteworthy that you wanted to point out?
Oscar Isaac was one of them. I really loved his character. It's probably there's stuff tied to his character is why I have like issues with some other ones. Being Miles was one of them, and Gwen Stacy is another one. But Spider-Punk, played by Dan DiClio, I actually really love his character. He's really small, like supporting character, but I don't know. I love his character's like personality and stuff.
Yeah, it's just very it's Hobie, right?
Yeah, that's Hobie.
He's just very like, and he stays true to his character throughout the. He doesn't like turn at any point, which is
he just is himself.
Yeah,
and I liked it a lot. His style is really cool with all the like punk rock looking aesthetics and stuff. And I mean, I did really enjoy Spot, like Jason Schwartzman as Spot.
Yeah, I did too.
His character kind of like drops at a certain point in the movie. Like he just doesn't really become important anymore. But I enjoyed his like introduction and stuff, and his little bit that he is in. But
is Spot a villain that you're familiar with prior to this movie? Okay, because I wasn't either.
Yeah, so I have no idea of this character at all. But I enjoyed like everything about him in this movie.
Yeah,
up until the point where he basically he loses, I guess, focus because he's not like he is the villain, but like he's just not the main point of the movie. It seems. It just becomes more about like Miles basically, which I guess, and then I don't know, they try to make other people look like villains, but they're not. So it's just, I don't know. That's where it's kind of shaky for me, but.
I think I know what you're talking about. We can kind of explore that, but any other characters you wanted to mention real quick? Sorry, before we.
No, I mean that was about it for standout characters. I mean they're all great, but you know.
Alrighty, well let's talk about that then a little bit. About the painting of different characters as the bad guy. Do you mean that like? There were points in the movie where there was just negative connotation towards certain characters like Gwen Stacy and Miguel and Spider-Woman. Like it kind of just shifted throughout the movie. Is that what you're talking about?
I mean, yeah, the characters themselves like change frequently throughout the movie. Like Gwen Stacy's character, I actually really enjoy in the beginning. And then it's like towards the end that I'm not a big fan of. It kind of just becomes like typical Disney things to me, basically. Same thing with Miles. He basically just kind of acts like warmonger to me, which not a big fan of. Because in the beginning, he's himself and he's really good. But I don't know. as the movie progresses, I start losing interest in the
Yeah,
characters.
it's interesting that you say that because I actually really enjoyed that aspect. I enjoyed the watching him kind of like navigate the good and the bad. We kind of talked about this a little bit during the trailer reaction as far as like what thought was going to happen. Um, I enjoyed watching him kind of like as he learned new pieces of information about the Spidey Society and his place within the society and all of that, which we'll get into later. But uh, he kind of had to deal with morality issues uh and figuring out who he wanted to be and what he was going to do. And by the end of the movie, I think we're in a place where we're not really sure where he's going to end up, especially with the final scene of him meeting his alternate version of himself
Yeah,
as the
the
Prowler,
Prowler.
which was I thought was really cool, and um it kind of just perfectly accentuates the duality of having powers or having that being called upon or chosen, I guess you could say. Like some people use it for good, some people use it for bad. And uh we're kind of still waiting on figuring out what Miles Morales is going to do with it. I think because he's the main character of the story, I'm pretty sure it's safe to say he's going to end up being a good guy at the end of it all,
Yeah.
right? But I enjoyed watching the path that he took to get to where he's at now, because it's I don't know, it was just a little bit different. It wasn't just a classic hero story of him saving the day the whole time. There's real consequences that could come of him doing things that are not canonically correct, which was I thought was another really cool thing that they or term that they used throughout the movie. Instead of saying I forget what they used in like Loki and stuff for
Never watched it, so I don't know.
but they in this movie they use the term canon events.
Disruption.
Or,
Well, yeah, they are events, but
Yeah.
he ends up disrupting them.
Right. But I like that they use the word canon, just because I don't know, that's like a kind of a nerdy word for a lot of people. But
Not anymore.
yeah, well, which is why I guess they're using it now is because it's not as much. But I like that it's gotten to the point where it's not a nerdy word anymore. That it's can be used in a major film like this and not not throw people off. So I don't know, I enjoyed it though. I enjoyed watching him kind of go through that path and have to figure out shit and see that he doesn't actually have it figured out yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's not unusual for the characters to, go through this, like, I guess, journey of like trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
And it was fine up until a point. Like, basically, the moment I don't know really why they decide to tell him everything. From that point on,
Oh, you're talking
getting
about
all the
on the train up to
information.
the moon, like they're being launched to the moon, and Miguel like tells him.
He explains everything. He's
Yeah.
like, "Hey, do the thing." When it's like, "What thing?"
Oh, you're talking
It's
about
like,
when he
"Oh,
first meets Miguel.
explain everything."
Yeah.
I don't really know why he decided to do that, anyways. But from that point on, like, he was given basically as much information as all of them have, and then decides, "Well, I'm just gonna not do everything. I'm gonna complete or purposely do the opposite and do whatever I want, uh, without good reason, really." But I don't know. I stopped caring at
I
that
think it's
point.
a combination of him being a young teenager and the mental struggles that he was going through before all of this happened with trying to find his place and find balance between being Spider-Man and saving people and saving things and also like family and all that stuff. And that conversation that he had with his mom right before he went after Gwen, and she basically told him like, don't let anybody tell you you don't belong here, don't let anybody try to conform you into what they think you should be, which is a very heartfelt conversation that I'm sure a lot of our parents have had with us, and it's very nice. But but I think it kind of, I don't want to say it got skewed in his brain, but it just influenced some of the decisions he made about being presented with this information of him having the ability to catastrophically alter dimensions, you know.
Yeah.
And so
Which is why I'm not a huge fan of Spider-Man being young. You're a kid, you're going to be retarded, and this is just an example of it.
Make mistakes.
And it, like in small cases, like it's fine. Like in the original movie, it's fine.
Yeah.
When you're presented with a multi-dimensional fucking consequences, it's not fine, and it's just annoying. The conversation he had with his mom was nice. I think it's very heavily, what do you call, like, minority focused, which is understandable from our perspective. Not the same, but I mean, I get it. But that's all this movie likes, or Miles himself kind of like takes that, and I feel like you said, kind of amps it up a little bit more than he should, versus just his mom speaking as his mother.
Right.
Which kind of, I'm trying to like not be politically incorrect with this, but it carries throughout the movie afterwards, with some of his decisions and stuff and the things he does. And there's no way for me to explain it other than I've literally lived through this and like with other people making the same decision. I'll tell you off screen, but
yeah,
it seemed like a huge change from what the first movie was, and including the game, that I wasn't that big of a fan. It's not like
I didn't think it was as prevalent as some of the other superhero movies that have come out recently.
It's not like that big of a deal where it just ruins the movie, but it's something that seems a lot more present in this one, which I just feel like it's kind of weak and disappointing, which is why I kind of gave it an 8. But I like it. It's not surprising that it's there because it's Miles Morales. Like it's a different Spider-Man. I get it.
Yeah, he's a half black, half Puerto Rican.
Yeah. So Spider-Man, of course it's there, but like it seems like they're really leaning into that for which I can't prove this, but I'm going to imagine this has a big effect in a positive way for those people.
Sure.
But I'm not one of them, and I'm also not, I'm not white. So it just seems interesting that they're doing that.
Okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm hoping that the level of influence that stuff is having on the movie is kind of hit its peak, and based off of like what I'm anticipating to happen going into the third movie, I think it is. I don't think that there's a whole lot more room for them to lean into that inclusivity kind of themes without absolutely ruining the friend or the series. Like I'm sure it's possible for them to do it, but it would just absolutely ruin it. And I'm hoping that they can see that and that they just kind of continue on with the path that they're on, because I think it works for a lot of people. And I think that the good thing is for people like you that maybe it doesn't work perfectly, it's not so bad that it destroys the rest of the movie for you. Yeah. So hopefully it stays at this level and doesn't get any worse.
Yeah, that's the most I can really hope for, is the next movie doesn't just fucking take that up a million levels.
Well, okay, so let's talk about going into the next movie. So this movie, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't have a finality to it. It very much leads us into a third installment, which is called Beyond the Spider-Verse, I believe, is the title that they showed at the end of the movie. Which, by the way, real quick, just so you guys know that if you haven't seen the movie yet and you're for some reason watching the spoiler section before you go watch the movie, there are no after credit scenes for this movie, which is very very non-traditional when it comes to superhero movies as of late. But just so you guys know, there are no after credit scenes. So once the credits start rolling, that's pretty much it. you can head out and
Yeah.
get out of there. But this movie really focuses on building up Spot as the overarching villain, and then it also introduces us to the Spidey Society, which is what we saw in the trailers. A lot of that stuff is really cool. But at the end of it, Miles Morales has been told where he falls within this whole Spidey multiverse kind of thing. And what we find out, which was completely surprising to me, maybe it's because I don't know the canon going into this, or maybe this is not even canon. I don't know that. I don't know for sure. But this movie tells us that Miles Morales was never actually supposed to be Spider-Man, that he was, quote unquote, a mistake, and that the spider that bit him, which was Spider 42, came from a different dimension and was brought to Miles Morales' dimension by a scientist at Alchemist, and then it escaped and it bit Miles Morales. And because that happened, Spider-Man in his dimension died, and then he took over. And there's also a dimension out there that has no Spider-Man and is in just complete chaos, which is what we see at the end of the movie when he returns to his dimension, but ends up returning to the dimension that the spider was from. And he finds this just like Gotham type crazy being destroyed world.
Yeah,
and
pretty much.
And he finds himself, or another version of himself that is the Prowler. And so the end of the movie, it just kind of leaves us on a cliffhanger because Spot is, warning him of his revenge. There was a super collider incident where he actually saw the future and saw Spot destroying his world and killing his dad. Then he finds out that that's just a canon event within all Spider-Man stories, is that, they have to endure some kind of tragedy. And so he freaks out, runs away from the Spidey Society, and the movie kind of ends there. And he's on the run from the Spidey Society. He's fearing for Spot's revenge, and he's also trapped in a dimension that he's not supposed to be in, being held captive by his alternate version of himself as the Prowler. So that's where the movie ends, and the third movie is obviously going to be building from there. Is there only supposed to be 3 movies, or is it supposed to be more than 3?
I think it's just 3.
Yeah, that makes sense. So real quick, what did you think of him as the Prowler?
It was cool. It was definitely interesting to see. Just the entire world with like Uncle Aaron, and then it was funny, like the entire time that he's just like, he knows something's wrong, but he's just like doesn't know what it is.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, of course it's gonna be yourself as the Prowler, because why not?
I thought it was awesome, especially just the visual aspect of seeing Miles Morales with his braids in, and like, punk kind of just thug type of appearance.
Yeah,
I thought it was cool. And I don't know. Do you think he's gonna end up like? Do you think it's gonna be a situation where Miles Morales, or the good Miles Morales, ends up turning his variant self for the good side?
No.
You think it's just gonna be
this moment just feels like T'Challa Warmonger.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. I don't know how I feel. I have a feeling that, like, because that world doesn't have a Spider-Man, so
yeah. I mean, I do think it's weird that they say, like, not that they say that, oh, he was an accident, but that there isn't already multiple universes that have no Spider-Man and that have him as Spider-Man. Because how can he be disrupting the canon if he himself is not canon?
I'm confused.
Well, he's an accident, right?
Right.
Which means he's not canon. but they're
Right.
trying to stop him from saving his dad to not or to prevent another canon
Oh,
disruption.
I see what you're saying.
How can you have a canon disruption if he is not canon?
That's a good point. I don't know. Maybe there's some kind of laws of canonical timelines that we don't know, and that if you become Spider-Man in a universe, then you have to go through these events in order to solidify your place as Spider-Man.
I mean, it makes
don't
sense
know.
for Spider-Man, but he's
Yeah.
not supposed to be Spider-Man, is what they're saying. So
Yeah.
why is it a problem if he is an accident?
I don't know. And technically, like, if we're going over, his dad did die, right? Because his dad died in the other universe, so it should be okay if he saves his dad in this universe.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, there should be multiple versions of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
If
confusing.
he is part of the canon.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
It's confusing.
It's a little confusing. I'm guessing there's just some things that are just left up to assumption, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. I was pretty shocked. Did you know that? Did you know Miles Morales wasn't supposed to be Spider-Man?
No.
Is that like an established part of his?
I have no idea for like actual.
Yeah, like comic books and stuff. I don't know, because I
canon,
never
but-
I read a lot of regular, like the original Amazing Spider-Man and stuff, but I never really read anything about Miles
Yeah.
Morales.
I mean, it wasn't in the first movie. It's not in the game, so I
Yeah.
have no idea.
I don't mind it though. It adds some depth to the struggles that he's going through, because now on top of all the other things that he's had to deal with mentally, now he has to deal with the fact that he was never actually supposed to be Spider-Man. So I don't mind it. I don't know. Maybe you guys can let us know if that's supposed to be a thing in his story, or if that's just something that Sony added.
Could be to just add to the
Just to add to
many
the
struggles.
which I think it's a good one. I mean, that scene of them, like, of him and Miguel fighting on the train and all that, like, that was
I do
I
want to
was-
say
I was
too,
pretty emotional.
of all the Spider-Man in this movie / Spider-Women, whatever, Spider animals, T-Rex. Which is
oh my
hilarious.
god, that shit was amazing. I'm
Of
sorry.
all of the versions in this movie, it just proves to me that my Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, is better than all of them. Because he could have stopped everything that happens in this movie by himself.
Yeah.
And everybody in this movie, and there's like 6 of them or more, are struggling to stop one thing.
Yeah.
You guys suck.
Oh, that's hilarious.
The T-Rex was hilarious.
The T-Rex was hilarious. The horse, the guy on the horse was
The
hilarious.
cowboy, yeah.
Oh my god. There was actually that's one of like my favorite things about this movie, was just all the different versions of Spider-Man.
Yeah, for sure.
And they were just so well done. And even the prisoners too, seeing what's his face, Childish Gambino as a
that was
version of the
awesome.
Prowler.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
It's rude to stare. It's so funny.
Yeah, that was by far my favorite thing of this movie.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, is good, but like, since the story is like what bothers me, that's like kind of, whatever about the action movie. But I loved all the different styles of animations and worlds and characters, and
It was so impressive to see
Spider-Man
how
and stuff.
seamlessly all the different animation styles like mesh together.
Yeah.
Like,
and it was
especially
hilarious
with
seeing like the original when he's like, "I got
Yeah.
him." Oh, I missed.
Oh, it's so funny, man. There's so many good things. One thing I did want to bring up and is one of my like issues, I'd say, and I don't know, maybe I just need further explanation. Maybe there will be further explanation down the line, but it just seems like Miles Morales is super overpowered. Like, his little shock ability thing that he has
Oh
is
yeah.
insane to think about, like, him having that, especially because it has like nothing to do with spiders whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like, it has no spider connection. I mean, obviously the spider that bit him was altered or whatever, so it had it. That's why he got it. But just that, combined with the fact that he was able to escape hundreds of other Spider-Men that were after him, just super overpowered. And I'm not 100% against it, because there's always got to be somebody that is the top of the top, and if that's him, then that's fine. But I'm hoping that throughout the next movie that there's a little more explanation as to why he is so much more powerful than a lot of the other Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of like power creeping with characters and anything. Um, I just think it's weird that it's him, like of all characters, because 2099
it should be like
I feel like should be stronger than him at the very least. Maybe not the top because I don't know if there's more. I gotta imagine there's infinite.
Technically infinite, right?
Yeah. So there should be more powerful than him. But going from Miles Morales to 2099, I feel like that time difference should equate to like an overwhelmingly like powerful scale, But
what is that thing with 2099 where he had to inject himself? Is that like he has to inject himself in order to keep his powers or something? Did you see that? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. I don't know a lot about his character, but I think it's like some kind of keeping his like monster at bay kind of thing.
Yeah, because there was that in the beginning when they were fighting the vulture, there was that like brief moment of him like about to eat the vulture's head or something.
Yeah.
And it had like a very Venom type feel to me.
Yeah.
Like his head like morphed into something else and like was about to grab.
Yeah. So I think I'm sure somebody's just like, of course he's blah 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 blah. But
yeah.
I imagine.
Thank you if you do that for us, because I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I like all the different Spider-Man, but I imagine he's not human, like fully human, and so that injection is just to like keep him
the monster
level.
At bay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, even his like. Which probably adds to his natural like strength and stuff, but that combined with his suit, like I don't know how he's just not obliterating everything, which he is like kind of the leader. So like
he's massive. First off, like
he's an absolute unit.
A unit. He has like red laser web stuff that just looks cooler than regular web.
Not only that, like his suit, like he's got like blades,
and
he had a cape. He had like a laser cape in the beginning.
He's pretty badass. But that just goes further to my point that like how did Miles Morales beat him in a 1v1,
Yeah.
And not only a 1v1, but then a 1v like 200.
500, yeah. Ridiculous amount.
So I don't know.
Especially because like with at least Miles Morales and like a few others that we know, like his electric powers is the only like real or like stable power.
Yeah.
Like his webs, they're mechanical, like the other.
Well, he has the invisibility too.
Yeah.
Which is also another like nobody can see him. Like when he goes invisible, he's just invisible to everything.
Which I thought was a weird character, but the AI one.
Oh, yeah, the girl that was like in a VR headset.
Yeah, that one was a little.
I also didn't understand why she helped him.
I don't even know why she exists. Like
I don't know why she helped him, because it wasn't like there was a I don't remember there being like a moment between them where like
I don't know.
And she just like abandons all of her principles to help out this dude. Like,
yeah, I don't know. The only one that made sense to me was Gwen, obviously.
And Peter B. Parker.
Yeah, makes sense because he's like his mentor and stuff. But everybody else, like, I don't know.
Like you guys are sworn to this Spidey society that's supposed
to years and
that's supposed to like. Maintain the timeline of everything, and you're just gonna like, for this kid, sure, fuck it, like, destroy all my morals.
I mean, Hobie, I guess, because he's just like, whatever, I do what I want.
That makes sense, like,
but
so let's talk about the group of people that Gwen ends up recruiting to help out Miles Morales, because at the end of the movie, Gwen is essentially kicked out of the order or out of the society. She loses her wrist thing that helps her transport through dimensions. Hobie gives her a gift. Gives her like a black market one, essentially, right? So that she can. And she goes to. Originally, she's sent home to her dimension where she makes up things with her father, which was a heartfelt scene. And then she ends up going to Miles Morales' dimension to try and help him. And then
real quick, I want to talk about that scene you're talking about with Gwen Stacy with her dad.
Yeah.
Just because this represents like why I don't like Miles's like mindset,
Mm.
because she was another person that was kind of in a similar situation to him,
Yeah.
that was set up to be like, oh, now my dad's gonna die,
Right.
and like, you know, all the bad stuff is about to happen for me, when it actually does the opposite.
Right.
Like
Or
she
it
ends
turns
up,
out where
he quits his job because
Yeah.
he doesn't want to lose her, and he can't stand to like he wants to be doing the right thing as a cop, but if that means for him to arrest his daughter, he's
Yeah.
not okay with that, and he gives it all up.
Right.
And it's like ends up being, you know, a nice moment and stuff.
It is. So what you're saying is because there's potential for the story to play out in that direction, it's premature for Miles Morales to freak out and like go against everything.
Yeah,
his
well, I
father.
just like if you're presented with a ton of information and there's infinite possibilities,
Right.
why are you just immediately assuming it's going to be like
Yeah.
the worst possible outcome?
I mean, he is 15 years old, so
Yeah, which I don't like, but
yeah. So
he's like the youngest Spider-Man.
yeah, I don't know. I guess that's really the only reason I can think of. I mean, people make irrational decisions, but I think the biggest thing is just he's young and he's just got that dumb dumb decision making mentality. You know,
Yeah,
it's
but
just
I
part
mean,
of being young.
and I know like for Miles, like his big things is be greater, be yourself. Like those
Yeah.
are like, you know, the almost like the mottos that they have on for him and stuff, which I love. Like I loved it a lot. I even have a bunch of pictures I took in the game because there's a great photo mode in that, and I use all that kind of stuff. But it's a little extra in this. Just at
Okay.
least I thought it was.
Let's talk about the group though that Gwen ends up traveling through all the dimensions to recruit. We have obviously Gwen is the leader. We got Peter B. Parker, his original mentor, as well as the baby. I'm guessing. I
Yep.
think the baby came with him.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. And then we got Penny Parker, who is in a new, just
Even bigger suit.
bigger, more of a unit suit.
Yeah.
Like
even bigger.
looks like a freaking looks like a whatchamacallit from oh my god, Pacific Rim, a
Yeah.
Jaeger.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not that size, but the style of it looks
just
more
looks
like
like
a Jaeger.
a miniature Jaeger
Yeah.
from Pacific Rim. And then we got Peter Porker, we got
Spider-Man
Hobie,
Noir.
we got Spider-Man Noir, which I was really bummed. I was really
They-
bummed
they
that the
didn't wanna
only
pay for him
time
to get his,
Yeah.
his lines.
I was bummed that the only time that we saw Spider-Man Noir was at the
Was-
very end for like
Yeah.
2 seconds as they showed all of
He's
the
just part of
yeah.
the group hanging on to the side of the thing.
the side of the roof. Yeah, I was bummed because that was our favorite character from the first one, and
Yeah.
we didn't get anything from him.
No Nick Cage.
Yeah, which obviously he'll be in the third one, so we have that to look forward to. But and then and then the AI girl was there too, right?
She's part of the group as well.
Is there any others? I don't
No,
know.
I-
any others.
I
I
think
think that's
that was
pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the start of the Spider-Man Endgame.
yeah, it's
Civil
basically
War.
what it is.
Spider-Man Civil War.
Civil War, yeah, probably better. I'm sure they're gonna incorporate Aunt May, who moved to Florida for some reason.
They do
but
name drop Doctor Strange as well.
They did, which was funny. That idiot Doctor Strange. It sounds like he should be a doctor of anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I think there's a lot to be excited about for the third movie. It'll be cool to see just kind of the culmination of everything. It'll be interesting to see how Miles Morales gets out of being captive by himself. And then, just seeing how he goes about saving his dad, which if his dad dies, I'm going to be really sad. I love the dad.
Yeah, he's great.
I love the dad. Like he's probably like, I don't know. I keep saying this, but it's just like he makes me want to be a better dad. Like, I want to be like him. Like he's super cool. Yeah, I don't know. I really like his dad. I hope he doesn't die. I hope Miles just breaks all the canonical events and destroys everybody's timeline to save his dad. Yeah. I don't know. I guess I'm excited for number 3. Do we have any idea when that's coming out?
I don't believe so. Let me check real quick if there is.
I'm guessing at least 2025. I would be surprised if it was sometime in 2024. Yeah, I'm gonna guess.
It says 2024.
Really?
March 29th.
Really? Wow. All right. So we got less than a year.
Yep.
That's exciting. We should get a trailer soon then. Like based off of when the first trailer for this came out.
I mean, yeah, but this movie just came out, so
yeah,
they're probably gonna wait a little bit.
Yeah. True. Yeah. I don't know. Anything else you want to talk about for this movie?
No, I mean that's
the only other thing that I keep thinking about is just the comedy aspect. I thought there was a lot of really good comedy in this movie.
There's a lot of funny moments.
There's really funny moments. I'm still a huge fan of like Miles Morales' comedy and his just non-whimsical way of doing things. And he like, especially the scene of when him and his dad, but he was Spider-Man and his dad were like talking at the alchemist site, and it's just maybe you should let him away.
Maybe you should get off his ass.
Yeah, what'd you say?
I don't know.
I don't know, man. I'm just Spider-Man. I don't know. Like, it's funny. Yeah. I enjoyed a lot of the comedy.
I will say all the moments where he's like trying to tell somebody that he's Spider-Man, but he can't. I fucking hate that. But
yeah, especially since at the end he finally does it, but he does it to
the wrong one.
He does it to his mom
universe.
in the other universe who has,
which I guess technically makes me correct.
Yeah,
but not in the way that I was expecting.
Yeah, it does suck because I was hoping that he would reveal himself to somebody during this movie.
Yeah,
you know, like I actually thought he was gonna, when he was revealing himself to his mom, but from the other universe. I knew something was wrong. I didn't know it wasn't his universe right away. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know until I saw Uncle Aaron.
Yeah, then you're like, what the hell?
Yeah. So, but when he did reveal himself to his mom, I was like, oh shit! All right, here we go. He's gonna reveal himself to his mom. I was expecting his mom to kind of like just be. I honestly was expecting her to be like, yeah, I knew already. Like
that's what I thought it was.
Like I thought she was just like, yeah, like I do your laundry. I know you're Spider-Man. Like that's why I've been so like letting you go and do things and kind of helping you be a buffer between you and your dad. Like that's what I thought was gonna happen, but obviously it didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what would happen.
I think so too.
Which is why I just hate his whole like.
Well, the problem is that the longer he puts off telling them, like the more throughout the story he puts it off,
the worse it'll be.
Yeah, the worse it's gonna be because it's after all of this you've been lying to us this whole time, you know, like, and I don't know, I as a father I would be upset, and I would be upset with myself and with him if I found out that my son was this vigilante superhero that I've been chasing and then ultimately end up working with. And this whole time you could have just told me, and I probably would have been like, hell yeah, dude. Like,
yeah, that'd be fucking sweet, dude.
Like, oh fuck yeah, man, like that's awesome. So but yeah, man, that's pretty much all I got for this. I enjoyed the movie. The comedy was awesome. Everything about it.
If you guys haven't, I do highly recommend playing the video game.
Yeah,
if you get the chance.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you guys thought about this movie. Did you guys enjoy it? Have you seen it yet? If you haven't, go check it out. It's worth seeing it in the theaters. Otherwise, stick with us. We got a couple more episodes coming out this week. Thank you guys for all the love and support. We're continuing to grow, and it's really humbling that you guys are continuing to watch all of our videos and stuff. So thank you guys. We appreciate you. Please like, subscribe, comment, share with a friend. Check out our social media links as well as the other shows here on Any Kind Media, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode.
Bye, guys.